Yesterday, Midtown Manhattan's morning calm was shattered, a tranquility that residents had come to expect and rely on, by the city's deadliest shooting in 25 years, a stark and brutal reminder of the ever-present threat of violence. A lone gunman, driven by unknown demons, stormed the office tower at 345 Park Avenue, a building synonymous with success and ambition. He unleashed a wave of terror, killing 4 innocent people before ultimately taking his own life, leaving behind a scene of unimaginable horror. The attack didn't just claim lives, it pierced New York's sense of security, leaving an open wound on the city's collective psyche. It transformed a symbol of corporate power, a beacon of economic strength, into a crime scene, a grim tableau of loss and devastation. The event reignited fears of mass violence, proving that even the most protected spaces are vulnerable to such acts of senseless brutality. The tragedy's impact is measured not just in the precious lives that were tragically lost, but in the city's shaken psyche, the lingering fear that now permeates the air. It also lies in the urgent questions it raises about public safety, mental health resources, and the overall well-being of our communities. As investigators meticulously piece together the timeline of events, searching for answers in the aftermath, New Yorkers mourn, grappling with grief and disbelief, forced to confront the grim reality, a truth that is both painful and undeniable, that no place, regardless of its stature or security measures, is entirely immune to such unspeakable horror. The shooter's motives, seemingly tied to the NFL and his own mental health struggles, add a deeply disturbing and unsettling layer to a tragedy, compounding the pain and confusion. This horrific event demands a national conversation, a serious and sustained dialogue, on the urgent need for comprehensive gun control reform and vastly improved mental health care access for all. The gunman, identified as 27-year-old Shane Devon Tamura of Las Vegas, Nevada, was seemingly driven by a complex web of personal grievances and perceived injustices. These grievances appeared to be the primary catalyst for his actions. Further complicating the matter were his documented mental health struggles, which investigators believe played a significant role in his descent. Tamura's meticulously planned cross-country journey, spanning several states, ultimately ended in a tragic act of violence, leaving a community in shock and mourning. His target was the National Football League, or NFL, which he irrationally blamed for his perceived suffering and life's misfortunes, despite the fact that he never actually played in the professional league, or even had any affiliation with it. A handwritten suicide note discovered at the scene revealed his deeply held belief that he suffered from chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE, a degenerative brain disease, explicitly referencing past NFL tragedies and player deaths linked to the condition. He ended his note pleading for his brain to be studied post-mortem in hopes of confirming his self-diagnosis. Tamura's documented history included a range of mental health issues, including depression and anxiety, and, crucially, his legal access to firearms, obtained through standard channels, highlighting the disturbing ease with which troubled individuals can legally arm themselves in the United States. His story is not one of a criminal mastermind orchestrating a complex plot, but rather a tragic narrative of a man seemingly failed by existing support systems and societal safety nets, whose escalating obsession and easy access to weapons ultimately proved deadly and devastating. The investigation into the incident continues, with law enforcement meticulously gathering evidence, as authorities seek to fully understand the full scope of his motivations, the depth of his grievances, and perhaps most importantly, the critical warning signs that were tragically missed along the way. 4 lives were lost in moments, leaving families and communities devastated. Didarul Islam, an off-duty NYPD officer and father, was killed while protecting others. Wesley LePatner, a senior Blackstone executive and beloved community leader, was also among the victims. Alond Etienne, a lobby security guard, died confronting the attacker, his sacrifice a stark reminder of the risks faced by those who protect public spaces. The 4th victim, a Rudin management employee, remains unnamed, but their loss is deeply felt. Beyond the dead, 1 NFL employee was seriously injured, and many others now carry invisible scars. The victims' stories, of service, leadership, and love, are the true heart of this tragedy. Despite robust security at 345 Park Avenue, keycard turnstiles, trained guards, and safe rooms, Tamura breached the building with a military-style rifle. The attack began in the lobby, where he killed the first line of defense, then bypassed security and reached the 33rd floor after taking the wrong elevator. There, he continued his rampage before ending his own life. The entire attack unfolded in minutes, exposing the limits of even the best security against a determined, heavily armed assailant. This tragedy forces a re-evaluation of what secure means in an era of assault-style weapons. Metal detectors and new protocols may now be considered for high-profile buildings. The breach stands as a sobering lesson for corporate security nationwide. New York City mourns, a city draped in sorrow, grappling with the aftermath of a senseless tragedy. The weight of grief hangs heavy in the air. Its leaders are calling for immediate and decisive action, their voices echoing the pain and frustration felt across the state as flags fly at half-staff, a somber symbol of respect and remembrance. And inevitably, the debate over gun laws reignites, fueled by renewed outrage and a desperate plea for solutions. The familiar arguments resurface, but this time the urgency is palpable. Governor Hochul condemned what she described as lax gun regulations in other states, highlighting the need for a unified national approach to combat gun violence. She is urging a nationwide assault weapons ban, emphasizing the devastating impact these weapons have on communities and the urgent need to remove them from civilian hands. The NFL and affected companies expressed profound sorrow and offered their condolences to the victims and their families, acknowledging the deep impact of the tragedy. Meanwhile, the league faces renewed scrutiny over CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, and its broader impact on player health and well-being, sparking conversations about the long-term consequences of the sport. Investigators are meticulously analyzing Tamura's brain for signs of CTE, seeking to understand the potential link between his football career and his actions. The results of this analysis could have far-reaching implications not only for the NFL, but for the broader understanding of brain injuries in sports. This research is vital for shaping future sports and mental health policy, informing strategies for prevention, treatment, and support for athletes. Tragically, the shooting marks the 254th mass shooting in the U.S. this year, a chilling statistic that underscores the severity of the gun violence epidemic. It's a grim reminder of a national crisis that demands immediate and comprehensive attention from lawmakers and communities alike. This tragedy spotlights the complex intersection of gun access, mental health, and the long-term toll of contact sports on the brain and overall well-being. New York's path forward is one of healing, community support, and a commitment to meaningful reform. While the nation again faces the daunting challenge of turning collective grief into concrete legislative action and lasting policy change, the hope remains, however fragile, that this time the calls for action will finally be heard and that meaningful progress can be made to prevent future tragedies.